order. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lynn?
Here.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Here.
Dr. Huntington?
Here.
Mr. Coffey?
Here.
Mrs. Stiff?
Here.
Mr. Kennedy?
Here.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Here.
All right, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and our JTHS color guard.
Art time. Art. Right turn. Art. Color guard. Halt. Post. Post. Colors. Breathe and arm.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arm. Post. Art time. Art. Right turn. Art. Forward. Art.
Please be seated. All right, big thank you to our JRT Color Guard. They do a great job every time. Welcome to all of our visitors here in person and those of you tuned in live streaming at home. At this time, we will entertain any public comment on any agenda item.
No public comment.
All right, hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Looking for motion to approve or amend.
Make a motion to amend the consent agenda by removing the Hopewell Schools bill from the check register and voting separately.
Perfect. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Do we have a motion to approve the rest?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Abstain.
All right, motion passes. We'll move on to recognition and awards. Appears we have none this month.
At the campuses, but we do have district
District.
recognition.
Oh, I tried to skip over our recognition.
Yes, you did.
We
So,
don't need recognition, the kids need it.
well, you'll see how wonderful some of our students are. But
Always
in
best.
celebration and recognition of our school board members, November 15th was school board recognition date throughout our state. So you probably saw a lot of social media posts from JTHS as well as other schools. And to celebrate that, we have some of our outstanding students from various campuses and programs here to talk about their experiences and to share their gratitude for what they're experiencing at JTHS. So I'm not going to steal their thunder because they are magnificent. So if I could ask our students to come forward with our programs this evening.
Good evening, JTHS Board of Education. My name is Jordan Schell, and I'm a senior at Joliet West High School.
My name is Henry Maston. I'm a senior at Joliet West.
My name is Juan Hobbs. I am a sophomore at Pathways Academy in Central.
My name is Jose Lara, and I am a senior at Joliet Central.
Hello, everyone. I am a junior at Joliet West and graduated 2027.
My name is Jaslyn Short, and I am a student at Pathways Academy in Joliet West.
To honor the dedication of the elected school board members across Illinois, the Illinois Association of School Boards has designated November 15th as a School Board Members' Day, in which we are celebrating this evening. This day provides an opportunity to raise community awareness and understanding of the vital role that locally elected Board of Education members play in our representative democracy. It is also a time to express our gratitude for their leadership and their commitment to our schools and community.
Our board members serve as frontline advocates, giving our community a voice, shaping a vision for the district, and guiding our students towards success. The Board of Education works diligently to protect two of our community's most valuable resources, our children and our tax dollars, while striving to provide the best education environment possible with the resources at hand. For this, we offer our sincere thanks.
As a part of our appreciation, we like to share our experience at Central, West, and Pathways. We are truly grateful for our schools, and we recognize that your leadership and teamship plays a vital role in making our educational opportunities possible.
It is an honor to begin this evening by sharing my high school experience with the Board of Education. So, hello, I'm Jose Lara, and I'm here to speak in behalf of the Joliet Central campus. At my time at Joliet Central has been nothing short of extraordinary. As someone who's in 9 extracurriculars, I can say with confidence that this school is great for students to meet new people and try out new things. When I first attended Joliet Central, I was shy, nervous, and unsure of my place in the school's community. I struggled to make friends and communicate with my peers. But it wasn't until I joined the astronomy club that year where I got my first taste of the community, the Joliet Central community. From that moment onward, I have participated in several activities and made several friends across my 4 years of attending this school. Something amazing about this school's community is how welcoming every club is. I went around jumping around clubs to see what worked and what didn't. I went through a lot of clubs before finding the ones where I belonged. Members and sponsors made experiences memorable and helped me step out of my comfort zone. As a result, every interaction developed my communication skills, an essential part from my planned major. After high school, I planned to enroll in a 4-year university to pursue mechanical engineering. Ever since I took PTLW, Introduction to Engineering and Design, my freshman year, I became passionate about engineering and the application of science in the real world. The schools I want to go to are Northern Illinois University, University of Illinois Chicago, and University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. I was accepted to NIU a couple weeks ago, and I hope to hear from my other 2 universities this December. My time at this school has helped me grow not only as a student, but as a person. I'm thankful for the opportunities at Joliet Central I was able to take advantage of, and I'm sure that in the future students will also benefit from these opportunities and experiences and grow as much as I did.
Again, I am Deion Thompson, and I attend Joliet West. I hope everyone is enjoying their day, where my personal discussion of the 3-year experience in this district. From my perspective of high school, it generally provides a positive and loving atmosphere to the student staff, like a family-oriented community. Upon that, on a daily basis, there are many nationalities, traits, and personalities. Especially for me, coming from an area of mostly African Americans, this was an astounding sight to interact with new people. I've always taken advanced honors classes where most of the time having a good relationship with my educators. Starting with business classes, a favoring teacher being Ms. Hackett, My sophomore year, courses like honors physics with Mr. Connard, honors geometry alongside Ms. Diaz, where I was actually top of my class, and pre-AP English with Ms. Gerting, who actually recommended me where I am now for AP Linking and Composition, accompanying Ms. Maurice, who Will is a favoring teacher of mine if you're on her good side. Plus advanced algebra honors with Ms. Krim, who is similar to a little Ms. Maurice type of vibe. Furthermore, I'm a student athlete. For each after-school activity has featured something clear to me. Football through Coach Larry showed me time is inevitable and will pass by if you want it to or not. But it's the key time that you utilize and not giving up. Basketball, besides Coach Chili, Larry, and Earl taught me amongst triumphs, there will be times you are challenged, not just from others, but even your own character. Track taught me season by season there will be evolution, but also can be shortcomings. It's just what you intend to do with that. This one big match in wrestling where I was on the brink of losing and something told me not to give up, I ultimately pushed through and ended up being victorious and winning the MVP. Through my time at Joliet West, I will incorporate the skills I learned to prepare me for college. And after career-based working with people, incorporating business management with graphic and interior design, and I will want to take mathematics into being an actuary or a math professor. However, in the matter of my adventure, I'm very happy to be here and for this school to be similar to a safe institution. It should not be marked to being safe, but get a sense of that term from our own classmates being more social. When talking to teachers, coaches, and entirely getting involved, as we are not just a building for academics, but a getaway to solidarity and fellowship.
Hello, my name is Jaslyn Short. Last year, I moved to Joliet West. Joliet West was going to be a fresh start for me. Lots of things have been very unstable for me in my life, and I wasn't able to keep up with school as much as I wanted. It wasn't easy. I was still struggling at West. I felt upset due to being in freshman classes. I felt embarrassed and ashamed not being in my junior classes around people my age. I felt afraid of my friends finding out. I felt like I couldn't fully express myself, and I feared I wouldn't graduate on time. My counselor, Mr. Wild, referred me to the Bravos program at Pathways. We worked out a plan so I stayed connected to West with a couple of classes. This has made all of the difference for me. At first, I was a little shy and uncomfortable, but now I feel like Bravos has helped me a lot. I feel like I could do my work self-paced and don't have any pressure being rushed. I feel like I have more support from my teachers when it's needed. From Miss Newell and Mrs. Zara. I like the smaller classes. They help me focus and concentrate on my work. I don't feel pressured or overwhelmed at Bravos. I feel stress-free and calm, so I could do my work much better. Because of Bravos, I feel like I could start thinking about my future again. I want to go to college and become a certified nurse midwife. I also want to get into real estate, earn a doctoral degree, and one day travel around the world. I feel so grateful for all the support here at JTHS. Thank you.
Excuse my voice, the weather's cold. Good evening, Board of Education, and good evening, everyone tonight. My name is Jordan, and as a senior, senior year, it's so weird feeling to be in. I wanted to not only reflect on my experience, but also kind of experience my future and kind of show you a little bit of a timeline of myself. From the start, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I am an indecisive person, and I still am now. So I had some recommendations from my counselors to take AP and dual credit classes, which I've taken human geography, physics, AP Lang, and also dual credit with JJC. Those classes were a bit challenging, and it was a good thing to have a challenging class. It forced me to step up my game and step up my leadership skills, my time management, and an overall academic student. Also, I got myself involved in activities. Should I say how many? We might be here all night. So I will tell you some of my favorites, from the random ones with painting at the fall play this year to not only becoming a student ambassador here, which I am very grateful to be a student ambassador here and use my voice for some sort of change, even if it's just a little speech. Also, I wanted to also acknowledge the Student Advisory Committee, which was enacted last year and under the Action Plan 1.1. And I do want to also mention that our new maintenance reporting system has been having great success. So I'm very grateful to have not only proper maintenance and proper order for our campuses, but also having a clean environment for everyone to be in, which is what I want to thank you guys for actually stepping up and helping enact our policies as a student voice. It's very important to have student opinions, and what the Student Advisory Committee does, it brings us all together from each campus, Central, West, and Pathways through that committee. So I'm very grateful to still be in it. Also, one of my other favorite things that I was grateful enough to have the position for is the president of the Science National Honor Society. It helped me grow not only in my science career and my love for science since I was a kid, but also teaches me how to lead my people and lead the chapter that I am, especially as an African American female, because it is a very white male-dominated space, to be honest. I also wanted to shout out another thing as well, which is my JRTC experience. And at first, I was voluntold by my mom to do it. You love my mom. I do love my mom. I know she's watching. And at first, it was for my family's sake. My dad went, my brother went, who recently graduated last year and is in the military. So with that being said, I wanted to shout out my senior Army instructor, Lieutenant White, my Army instructor, Sergeant Padell, and Sergeant Atkinson, because they taught me how to not only step up and be a leader, which I am currently in the position of and have a lot of responsibilities for, but also learning how to fix my mistakes and becoming better so I have more success for tomorrow. With all that being said, I wanted to talk to you about my future career goals. At first, I thought college would be my thing. It was always my mojo as a kid. But now I've kind of realized I wanted to step back and do something a bit different, which is actually enlisting in the United States Air Force in either cybersecurity intelligence or orchestra. Sky's the limit for a military career at this point. And I wanted to thank all the people that were involved in my high school career journey. It was a little bit tough this year as a senior with my mental health and my struggles with everybody leaving, the changes I have personally at home. But I wanted to thank especially my counselor, Mr. Wild. He has not only helped me cry it out when I need to cry it out in his office, but also picking me back up and getting me on the right track as far as my academics. And then finally, I wanted to thank you guys once again. Senior year is a crazy year I didn't expect to be in, but it's been one of the best years of my life, and I hope that while me speaking and doing the work that I've been doing over the past 4 years, that I can still make my lasting impression, not only as a Tiger, but also a student at the JTHS campus. Thank you.
Good evening, board members and guests. Once again, my name is Henry Masson. I'm a senior at Joliet West. As a senior, I wanted to reflect on the opportunities I've had here at JTHS. JTHS has created a variety of programming that's encompassing to all students. I appreciate that there's something for everyone, from the academic challenge of AP and dual credit classes to the practical skills learned in elective courses and the unique experience of the CEO program. This wide range speaks to how the district believes in developing all kinds of talents, not just one type of student. Beyond the classes, JTHS offers support that has been fundamental to my success. Knowing we have the resources like the cool-down room, great tutoring, and accessible counselors and guidance staff shows that the district sees this as more than just grades. It proves JTHS has been able to accommodate any learning style, showing how you prioritize students over anything else. Lastly, I've been thinking about how I'll stay involved after high school simply because I won't have this massive network of opportunities and resources the district provides. JTHS has set a really high bar for what I expect in the future. So thank you for creating inclusive education, great student support, and high expectations.
Good evening, JTHS Board of Education. My name is Juan Hobbs, and I'm a sophomore at Pathways Academy with 3 classes at Joliet Central. My experience at Pathways Academy and Joliet Central have given me knowledge and confidence to pursue my dream to join the military in the U.S. Army branch. After graduating high school, being able to compete in KL sports at Pathways Academy, such as flag football, volleyball, and kickball, have helped me gain confidence while also showing me how to work together as a team. The expected behavior program and incentives such as field trips have helped me stay focused on my behavior to earn my transition back to Joliet Central. Pathways Academy is a great educational environment because the staff support every student and their individual needs. I truly feel like the staff care about me and my goals. Pathways Academy has also helped me earn my 3-class transition to Central, where I am now in the JRTC program. And I would like to thank the 3 main people who have helped me, Mr. Johnson, Miss Cologne, and Mr. Countryman. JRTC has helped me learn discipline, and it also has helped me sharpen my leadership skills, where they have helped me in my career in pursuing the military. My experience at Pathways Academy has put me in a position to not only be successful in my academics, but also have a post-secondary success.
That concludes our presentation this evening. On behalf of all Joliet Township High School students, we extend our sincere thanks to the Joliet Township High School Board of Education members for your dedicated service. We now invite you to join us for a group photo and receive a small token of our appreciation. Audience, as our board members take the way forward, please join us in a well-deserved round of applause for the Joliet Township High School Board of Education.
Great job. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's very comfy.
Sure you don't want the front?
Flishman and her group, the student ambassadors. You guys are phenomenal. You guys just like blew us away. More of that and more board meetings would be great. To be honest, reading these papers and voting yes, no, whatever. That's not what it's about. It's about you guys, and really want to thank you guys for the wonderful job you did.
Yeah,
So,
great
a round of applause for student ambassadors. All right, that concludes recognition and awards. I'll turn over to Dr. Guzman for superintendent reports.
Sure. I also just want to say, I know we have a lot of parents of our student ambassadors in the audience, and I wanted to say thank you as well to you, and congratulations on your outstanding students and those of you right at home. So let's give our parents and teachers a round of applause.
Well, I mean, unless you guys want to hear about the annual financial presentation, the proposed tax levy, the school report. No? Leaving? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Our legislative report this month. So we will get right into our presentation. So our first presentation is the 2024-25 annual financial presentation, and I will let Dr. Hampton introduce our guests.
Yes, we have Tom Lancaster. He's the partner with Wormer, Rogers, Duran, and Roussan, presenting the AFR for the 24-25 school year.
All right, thank you. So as in prior years, fortunately, it's all good news to report. I know I've said this before, and I know you guys understand, but you do a great job. They do a great job in the business office. When we show up, all of the accounts are reconciled. The business office staff have prepared very detailed financial records. They respond timely to our audit requests, and like I said, I know I'm repeating myself, something I've said before, but you have some of the best financial policies and procedures I've encountered, and in fact, I've used 204 as an example for other clients on multiple occasions. So you guys really do a great job. If we can go to the next slide.
No, you have to click it right there.
I guess that means we can go to the next slide. Okay, so just to give an overview, there are really two components to the audit. There's your financial audit and compliance audit. The financial audit is really to test the financial records and make sure that you're preparing accurate financial statements and reports. And then the compliance audit, as it would imply, is testing to ensure that you're in compliance with the various grant requirements. There were no audit findings, so we did determine that you were in compliance and that your financial statements are accurate. Your annual comprehensive financial report, that's the main report that's issued as part of the financial audit. That includes the district's financial statements. And for the district's ACFR, the district has received the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting for the year end 2024 and anticipates receiving for 2025 as well. That is the 37th consecutive year that you've received that certificate. Included in your ACFR, or Annual Comprehensive Report, is our Independent Auditor's Report. This is what's referred to as an unmodified or clean opinion. That's the best possible opinion to receive, and it means that we were able to perform an audit with no scope limitations and that your financial statements are prepared in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Also included are financial highlights. You can see the district's year-end net position increased $37.1 million. That's about 15.3% from 2024. So net position is the amount that your assets exceed your liabilities. So obviously the larger the number there, the better. So at 37.1 million, that'd be considered a very strong financial position. That means that your, the amount that your assets exceed your liabilities increased by that year over year. As of June 30th, 2025, general fund reported a fund balance of $111 million and had sufficient cash and investments to cover approximately 291 days of operating expenses. So, to explain further, if as of June 30th, 2025, which is your fiscal year end, you had enough cash and investments to cover 291 days of operating activities, which would mean you could go 291 days without collecting any more revenue and still cover your operating expenses. You can see also the different fund balances of the Transportation Fund, Debt Service Fund, and Capital Projects Fund, all resulting in total fund balances of your governmental funds of $258,362,937. Again, very strong financial position and healthy fund balances. As of fiscal year end, the district had $144.3 million invested in a broad range of capital assets. This year's major capital asset activity included Central and West athletic improvements and culinary additions and renovations. At year end, the district had $61,960,000 in bonds outstanding compared to $68,535,000 last year. During the year, bonded debt decreased as a result of scheduled principal payments totaling just over $4.4 million and refunding of 2 bond issues. So I mentioned there were 2 components, the financial audit and compliance audit. So the single audit is what's also referred to as the compliance audit. And that's required anytime an entity has expenditures of federal awards greater than $750,000. And that requires some additional audit testing, additional reporting, and additional reports that we have to file with the state and the federal government. And part of the single audit is we have to do a risk assessment. A lot of it's based on the amount of money spent for each program, how frequently the program has been tested, and some other risk factors. But then we determine which programs to test. So for fiscal year 25, tested Title I and the special ed cluster. And as a result, there were no findings. So you can see listed here. And again, that's the best possible result of the single audit is no findings. So under the summary of auditors' results, you can see the audit report expressed unmodified opinions, no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies. And I could read on, but to summarize, there were no findings. And then finally, the annual financial report, or AFR. So as you're aware, this is the report you're required to file with the state every year. Includes, it's prepared using the same underlying financial data that's included in the financial statements in the ACFR. And the annual financial report also includes the estimated financial profile summary, which includes some different metrics, all meant to measure the financial position or financial condition of the district, with a 4.0 being the highest score. So your projected profile score is a 4.0, which would give you an estimated financial profile designation of recognition, which is the best possible designation. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, but just to summarize, the audit went great, district was well prepared, in good financial position, and really responded to our request timely and helped facilitate completing the audit timely as well.
I have a quick question about the 291 days of operating expenses. Is there like a threshold or a number that you need to stay at for that?
Yeah, so actually, I think it was last year, the state legislators passed a provision where we only can maintain 2.5 times our yearly expenses of each fund. right? So, and that's just to maintain a good fund balance so that, you know, you have these rainy days or tough days that you can get through them. And so if we are over that, let's say if we were 3 years, then we have to come up with a spend down plan for those funds
Okay.
and submit that to the state. So
So
that
we're-
threshold is 2.5 times the yearly expenditures of that fund.
Okay. So I'm just trying to equate that to the number of days, right? Because it's easy for a non-financial board member to
Yeah, so you're
understand.
looking at almost like 800 days.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Thank you.
you're welcome. I just want to say, you know, thanks, Tom, to you and your firm. Great firm, very professional. We do work hard together to maintain these best practices, and definitely a special thanks to Amy Gomez, the district accountant, and our business and HR offices. They take pride in having these clean audits, and they work very hard each year to make sure we stay in compliance. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that.
We appreciate the clean audits as well. Thank you. Thank
And
you
the,
to your team.
and the leadership of Dr.
Yes,
Hampton
yes.
Thank
You
with
and
his
your team, big thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Our next presentation is the 2025 tentative tax levy by Dr. Hampton.
Good evening to everyone. As Tanya is putting up as the presentation is presented there. So each year, have to present the tax levy. Just so that everyone knows, tax levy essentially, when we talk about this portion of revenues, is associated with taxes, right? Your property taxes. We receive 68% of our revenue from property taxes. This is a very important piece as it relates to the district and receiving revenues. But essentially, every governmental entity must present a levy this time of year. So I'll go right into what the summary is. So in a nutshell, the way the levy works is you have the prior year extension, and in this case, we're talking $99,350,987. Prior year extension times CPI. And CPI for this levy is 2.9%. Each year, we receive the CPI so that we can levy. So right now, we will have the levy percentage for next year at the end of January. Right now, it's trending between 2.7 and 2.9%. Last year's CPI was 3.4. The year before was 6.3, and then we had a 7%. So it has come down tremendously from the time coming out of COVID to where truly right now it normally ranges between 2.5, 2.7. That's been the average over the lifetime of CPI. So we're right there in that average as it relates to that. And what CPI is essentially the cost of one good or services compared to the next year and whatever that price increase is from one year to next. So for this levy, we're talking 2.9%. So we're talking last year's extension times CPI, which is 2.9%, plus new property. We're fortunate to be one of those districts that can assume new property, which basically means that the viability of our area and the boundaries within our area, that we're continuing to grow, right, in terms of our property values. And this is collectively how we continue to grow. So with the 2.9%, we are to receive another $2,881,179, coupled with estimated property value, EAV, equalized assessed value of another $100 million. Now, that's an estimate because we don't know those numbers until the spring. So we have to estimate a little higher so that we can capture all of the new property. So let's say if I recommended a levy that was 20 million and the new property came in at 50 million. We won't be able to capture that additional 30 million, right? And you lose that infinitely. So we always levy a little higher for new property. And this is an estimate, and in working with the clerk's office in terms of what they're seeing in terms of growth. A couple of years ago, we had roughly 128 million. Last year was 38 million. We're projected to be around 28 to 35 million this school year. But again, we levying high because we don't know those numbers until the spring. So we have to levy a little higher just so that we can capture those numbers. If we didn't have any new property, then we would only be talking prior year extension and then the additional 2.9%, and that's it. But because we have new property, there are additional dollars that we can capture, and it's estimated to be about another $1,056,000 in new property that we can capture. So again, we don't know what these parameters will be until the spring, so we have to levy a little higher for those things. So what the district is proposing is an adoption of a tax levy of $104,318,000, which is 4.9% higher than last year's extension. We can't go over 5%. So this is a 4.9% levy, and this is what we are entitled to as a district, okay? So when we levy, it's CPI or 5%, the lesser of the two. So that's the way it works. Prior year extension, CPI, 5%, or the lesser of the two. So in this case, with it being 2.9%, that's the number we take. 2 years ago, we were at 5% because CPI was 6.3% and 7%. So the max we could levy was the 5%. So that's where that part is. And then also we'll have a resolution because we have to be able to capture the incremental increases associated with the bond costs. So we do have those supplemental levies also for our bonds, and we've done that in the past. So what will happen is starting tonight, the board approves it. This actually is presented to the public for at least 20 days before the board can pass. And then what happens in November, the board will take a vote, pass the levy, and then file that with the clerk's office, who then takes that and determines what the tax bills will be as we move through the spring and fall of next school year. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. So the next presentation is our school report card presentation. So myself and our principals and Ms. McDonald will be presenting. Thank you. So here's just some information about the historical timeline of the school report card. I'm not going to read this to you, but we always include it. I think a part to highlight, though, is the model for school report card changed in the 2018-19 school year. And so it went from a single indicator, which was the ACT test, to a multiple indicator with weighted index scores. And so we have more information to share about that. However, we did learn recently, the state is doing listening tours, that the model is being proposed to change for next year. So I will also provide throughout the presentations a highlight of what we believe those proposed changes could be. But currently ISB is doing a listening tour virtually as well as in person to gain input. And I want to point out some things I think we all need to be aware of and some input that we're giving to ISB as well. So each school is given a summative designation. The good, I think that the move to a multiple indicator is a good thing for school districts because one test, one score is not a good measurement for all the work that we do. I am by no means saying that the current model is perfect because it's not. There's some limitations, and the state has also seen those limitations too, and they're proposing some changes. are all those changes going to make things better or worse? That is yet to be seen, but I still think there's some problems going in the future. But it is a multiple measure. So currently, right now, this is how high schools in Illinois are their designations are determined. 75% are academic indicators and 25% are school quality and student success indicators. In the past, the board probably heard us talking about, in the future, they're gonna add college and career and fine arts indicators. That was supposed to happen in 2024, then in 2025, and then they said it's not happening at all. So those were never added. As you can see, graduation rate is the highest percentage of this weighted index. It's 50%. I think we all agree that graduation rate for a high school is appropriate. It's part of our strategic plan. We are striving to get all of our students, including all subgroups, to keep heading towards that 90%. However, there's other indicators as well, and those include proficiency on the ELA, math, science, also English learner progress to proficiency, and then that 25% is chronic absenteeism, climate survey, and the survey is participation, as well as ninth graders on track to graduate. Just as an overview, going into next year, if the model goes into place, there will be no more weights. And so there's core indicators and then non-core indicators. And for high school, the core indicators will be graduation rate, proficiency, and growth. The problem that I want to talk about that we currently have with proficiency, especially for JTHS and districts like us, is proficiency as measured by the ACT. So if the board remembers, the ISB also changed the test. So this past year was their first year back with ACT. ACT is moving forward. Proficiency will be ACT, growth will be ACT. The ACT is only given in English. So that is something that I continue to share with legislators as well as with the input through the listening tours and advocacy groups. For example, Advance Illinois, I shared that this week. Because both of our campuses are above the state average with a % of English language learners, and Joliet Central is almost double the %. That has an effect, and we're requiring students to take a test that they can't read or can't read well, because you have to also get to 95% participation rate. So those are some of the problems with the current system that I think we all have to have a general awareness about. So also, freshmen on track is gonna go away. And so that was something we were surprised about. So that'll be a change. Chronic absenteeism is remaining, except they're changing the they're changing the title. The title is
Good attendance.
it's instead of chronic absenteeism, it's students who come to school 90% of the time. It's the same metric, it just has a different name, is what I took from the presentation. And again, we are digesting this information as we're presenting this information. So that's an overview, but again, on a regular basis, the state changes the test, the model, the indicators, and the business rules. So the designations stayed the same for our schools as they were last year. So Joliet West has a rating of commendable, Joliet Central has a rating of targeted, and the targeted is for one of our subgroups, is for students with disabilities. We are in the 2024 cohort, and I'll share a little bit more in a moment of what that process is. But we also learned that the 5 annual summative designations will change for next year too. Exemplary and comprehensive will stay because those are in policy. So the highest you can be designated is exemplary. The lowest you can be designated is comprehensive, but they are splitting commendable into 3 different categories. So we're still trying to make sense of that, but it will be commendable, approaching, and then developing. But I might have those last 2 swapped, but those will be the changes going into next year. So with the designation of targeted for Joliet Central, it's a 4-year support structure. And you work to create plans specific to the money that the state is giving for support that can only be used for the targeted population at that campus. So this Title 1003 grant is only for Joliet Central. However, this is a focus group within our strategic plan with Action Plan 2.2. So we're working on plans for our entire district, but the funds have to go specifically to Joliet Central. So we just entered the 2nd year. Last year was a planning year. This grant is not a large amount. I believe last year it was $10,000. So it's not a large amount of money for the support. So last year we could only use the money for planning. So we were planning for our programs, specifically looking at our Avid Summer Institute, planning for the expansion of the consult model, which is part of 2.2, and instructional resources and supplies. And then we have to enter certain reports during the year. In fact, the first one was just entered with the goals of really focusing on our subgroup, this particular subgroup, for improved graduation rate and improved success freshmen on track. Those are the 2 main goals that are associated with this grant. Okay? Any questions so far about this grant or designations? Some other important information, because the school report card is meant to recognize schools as well as identify schools in need of support. But it also compares schools. What's important to know when we're talking, and I think the article by the Joliet Herald News did a nice job with talking about some of these unique things that we have in our district with the needs of our students. So when we look at Joliet Central and Joliet West on the next couple slides, you can see how our English learner percentages have increased, and again, the state average is at the bottom. So right now, both schools are above the state average, and like I said before, Joliet Central is almost double. When it comes to low-income students, both of our campuses have a higher percentage of low-income students than the state average. Daily attendance. So this is something that we're trying to work on, but it's not as much in our control as some of the other indicators when we're talking about programs. We are doing things to try and encourage attendance, and we'll talk about some of those things and to support attendance. But I think the state does recognize that this is something that is not as much in control as some of the other indicators. They have moved this from a core indicator to an indicator that can only improve your overall designation. It can't lower it in the new model. So that is something that might be positive. But this is still something we are focused on. It's in our strategic plan. We have great programs. You heard from our students today. But in order to take advantage of the programs and supports, you have to be here. So this is something that we really need to keep working with our parents, our community, our students on improving. So the last couple years when it comes to chronic absenteeism, we've stayed static at both campuses. Another, I think, reference point is we have a higher mobility rate than other schools within the state. So you have the state of Illinois, and then you can see Joliet West and Joliet Central are higher than the state. Joliet Central is slightly lower than last year, and Joliet West is slightly higher. So you'll see those groups of students when we look at graduation rate in the presentation, because these are students that have been in 1 to 2 or more schools during their span of their high school career. Lastly, and we'll conclude with this too, these are the action plans that are currently in progress that are aligned to indicators within the school report card. And because we don't know for sure what the school report card will look like next year, these are still completely appropriate because these are within our strategic plan. And the supports and the programs and the things we will implement through our strategic plan should aid to help graduation rate, proficiency, chronic absenteeism, and 9th grade on track. And even though 9th grade on track may be going away, that's still gonna be a focus for us because research shows students who are on track in 9th grade have a more likely to graduate in 4 years. So we're still gonna keep our eye on the prize no matter whether that's an indicator within the school report card or not. And now I'm gonna turn it over to our principals.
Thank you, Dr. Guzman. Good evening, everybody. So the next few slides with enrollment are really just for reference as we move forward and we look at some of these specific indicators. You'll notice a trend here with the graphs are all broken down by these subgroups. So this just provides you, again, with a reference point. And Dr. Guzman already mentioned several things about our enrollment and our demographics. As you can see here, at least for the central campus, and I think it's similar for the west campus, there's not a dramatic change in the enrollment overall or with subgroups, with the exception being of our English language learners. So just wanted to point that out. And
The same holds true for Wes, is, what he just said. But I will say, this is one of the first times I'm looking at the presentation over there, and it's not as clear as it used to be. I don't know how I feel about that. But when you look at our graduation for this year, we do take pause to celebrate. We are very proud of the achievements of our students for this cohort of students who have graduated. Our graduation rate, as you can tell, has increased, 86.6% at West and 80.8% at Central. But what I want to point out is that while we are recognizing the efforts of our students and our teachers and all those who work to support our students, when we look at the cohorts from the freshman group that entered in 2015, 2016, 10 years ago, all the way through this past year, the trend has pointed upward, and we're very happy to see that. That movement over the 4, 5, and 6 year cohort between both campuses.
So specific to the central campus, again, as I mentioned, this is broken down by subgroup. I do share the excitement of the increase in this area, as Dr. Guzman referenced. Graduation rate, there's a reason that it is 50% of the equation for the school report card, because it is a primary goal, not the only, but a primary goal of our education process at the high school level is to move students on and prepare them for post-secondary. Specifically, just another point of pride for myself, or not for me, but for Joliet Central, is there's not a huge gap there. And I think that's something worth noting, is that, of course, we have a little up and down, but the students with disabilities even, which is the group for which we are designated as targeted, you'll see that there was an over 13% increase in the graduation rate amongst those students. So as always, you've heard me say this repeatedly, I think it's important to celebrate successes, but we're never content with that, and we're never going to shy away from the challenges we have and continue to work hard to improve, but I think there are some things to celebrate there.
And for Joliet West, just to piggyback on what I shared earlier, when you look at the trend between each of our subgroups, collectively, yes, we've increased, but each cohort within the subgroup has slowly worked their way up in increasing our overall graduation rate. within their subgroups. And then looking at the achievement gaps between each group, there are minor differences, but nothing drastic. And of course, we continue our efforts to increase those and move them higher, because our goal is 90%, not just because it's designated through our strategic plan, but that's our goal. When we talk about this, this cohort that just finished at West and at Central, we listed all of the initiatives and the multiple supports that have been put in place to support them getting across that finish line. And again, we have to pause to thank you for your support, because I believe the majority of the initiatives up here were voted on and approved by this board here tonight. So thank you so much for supporting and recognizing the needs of our population, so that we could support them to get them across that finish line. I also want to draw your attention just to the size of the graduation classes for West and Central this year, 714, 800 at West. This is something to celebrate, but the celebration doesn't just end the work. We have to continue growing.
So this is something we started, I think, 10, 12 years ago when I was first principal, is breaking down the non-graduates and trying to delve deeper into some specific criteria is not the right word, some characteristics or some data specific to those students. And there's value in that, and Dr. Guzman's already referenced some of these things about like mobility rate, for example. We have a high mobility rate, so it allows us to look at, if you look at kind of the last 3 items there, how did we do with students who transferred in or had 3 or more high school enrollments, et cetera. And since we began this process of looking more closely at this data, we have identified some needs, like we've added more interventions for transfer students and tried to do things specifically to address students because of that high mobility rate. Some other value with this is looking at how many students were close, how many had 20 credits, and how many students were not, And I say this every year, there is great value in this, but this is looking after the fact at these 170 students. And the staff at Central have heard me say this before, like graduation rate, and I know Takara feels the same way, graduation rate is extremely important, but what's more important is these are students. I remember I was at a training, and you've heard me say this, somebody said the numbers have faces, and I'll never forget that. So these are 170 students who didn't graduate high school, and that's why graduation rate is important, is because of the opportunities that now these students have to work even harder for. So I'll get off my soapbox.
Well, no, Shad, I think you make a good point with that, because I think we heard from one of our ambassadors that she had moved in, and I think one of the counselors, Mr. Wild, directed her to our Bravo program, and how that's really helping her get back on track. Yeah. So, I mean, what you're saying makes great sense. Like, this is something that has happened, but we're working to make sure that it doesn't continue to happen, so.
Right. And then lastly, and we talk about this each year, and there was a tweak to the system. We've talked about every time we look at graduation rate, is that our students who move on to our transition center count against the graduation rate, because we're not allowed to graduate them and have them continue in that program. The state did address that to a degree. Next year it won't? Okay, that's good to hear. This year they created like kind of a separate number that shows that like 1.6% of those students fell into that category. But I'm glad to hear, I did not know that they're going to take that next logical, in my opinion, step. Yeah.
Pays off.
Yes,
Eventually.
because we all know we're meeting the needs of those students, as we absolutely should, and we're proud to do it. And it's a wonderful program. And similar, if students continue at an outside placement, like that is what they need, and we should be proud that we're able to provide that for them, but it should not count against our graduation rate. Yeah. So I'm glad to hear that that's going to change. So, and next year I'm going to let Takara go first, because she always has to follow me, and there's not a lot to say with the same slide.
I'm glad you said that, because Well, even our president stole one of the remarks that I was gonna
Whoops.
make. Because I was sitting here and trying not to cry, because when we go through these numbers, they're not just, our students, they're not just numbers, they're faces. We recall their stories and conversations and all the things that we've done to work with them, and while they may not have graduated with the 4-year cohort, they're close to the 5-year or the 6-year, so we still have hope for their completion. But in hearing her tonight talk about, I remember when she came in, and I remember the consciousness she had about her predicament and the chances of getting to that finish line, because I'm so far behind. So to be able to provide her with an avenue, a program where she can build that self-confidence while earning credits to get to that goal is remarkable. So I'm not gonna talk much longer, because I feel myself about to cry.
Yeah, you make me cry.
But these are the numbers for West as it pertains to the students who did not make it to the finish line with their 4-year cohort. As I said, our goal is still to get them across that finish line. But each one of these numbers have a story, and they have some very unique situations that we seek to support and help them work through to get them to that goal. But these are obstacles as well. When you look at having less than 12 credits at the finish line, there were barriers in place for those students who had multiple high school experiences, new environment, new rules, new teachers, new faces, things to adjust to while trying to learn math, science, English, social studies. So as we've said repeatedly, our focus is to continue the work. And Diane McDonald is on top of what we're doing.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to just bring some highlights to some of the new things that we've put in place for the school year to address graduation rate holistically. So within our MTSS structure, we added additional release time to our freshman teams to add an EL staff member that is currently providing outreach to our multilingual students at the 9th grade level and their families to help them stay on track. But then we also added another staff release time at Central because of the number of multilingual students to grade 10 for this school year. So we've expanded the power, the people power on our 9th grade MTSS teams. We have also implemented automatic enrollment of our 9th grade students into our learning labs. So based on the data that we receive from our sender schools and our high school placement exam, we actually enroll incoming freshmen into learning labs, so it's on their schedule when they pick it up. So there is no delay in those interventions starting at the beginning of the school year. This is our first year offering Avid 11 elective. So we're now in year 3 of this, and we Avid elective 11 and 12 really goes deep into the post-secondary planning. So I'm really talking about your post-secondary plans, whether college, 4-year college, 2-year college, or other opportunities. This past summer, we offered U.S. History Online. Why is that important? Because we recognize that our juniors wanted some extra space in their schedule. So this was our first past summer offering U.S. History Online so they could take this class while they're on vacation. They didn't have to be at Joliet Township High School. We had about 50 students complete this, and it put room in their schedule to take additional classes. And this year we'll continue to offer and expand. And also with our implementation of School Links, we have a post-secondary planning and assessment team at both campuses. This is our first year having a freshman on track curriculum related to School Links. So this is our class of 2029. By the time they graduate, so 2029, they will have a post-secondary plan. So each year, they have specific curriculum outside of their content curriculum that helps them develop that post-secondary plan. So let's talk about proficiency. So many of us in this room have taken the ACT. And just to share a little story, because the night is young. Cleaning out just materials from my mom and dad, and I came across my ACT little score. and it was a little I don't know if everybody remembers, it was a little carbon copy, and it was small print, that's how we got it, and there was my ACT score. So, like, long time ago, in the 1980s, I took the ACT, and the state is back using the ACT. So I just wanted to refresh everybody on the format of the ACT. So there's 4 parts to it in addition to the writing. So we talk about English language arts proficiency. We're talking about English, so that's grammar, rhetoric, and then also reading, so reading comprehension. So that is a combined score. And just to give you context, and Dr. Guzman made note of that, is that our English learners, so our score from this past year, so our class of 2026, their proficiency rate was 4.9. So what's actually nice with the school report card is they'll give you a scatter plot, so you can find a school district that has the same percentage of EL students comparable to you, and it will give you their approximate proficiency scores as well. So we are comparable to the school districts in our range that have our percentage of EL students. Math proficiency covers your algebra, geometry, advanced algebra, statistics, and then science does cover all content areas. So your biology, physics, chemistry, and earth and space science. Just to remind everyone here, we do require 4 years of English. For math, it's 3 years, so it's typical algebra, geometry, advanced algebra, and then science 2 years, so biology and physics. So this is a breakdown of our proficiency from ELA to the left to science on the right. The next part of proficiency on the school report card is related to our EL learners. This is measured by the access test. There are 6 components of how a student is rated, and it is a combination of their scores. So it's reading, writing, speaking, listening, and then they determine that. So if you look, of our 893 students at Joliet Central, 86.9% of them are within the entering, beginning, and developing. So we're talking about grades 9 through 11 that are in that lower range. And working with our Director of Multilingual Services, what we're finding is many of our students have been receiving services since 1st or 2nd grade. So if they've been, I would say, a lifetime, a school time of in EL services. So our goal here at Joliet Township is to try to move them, like what we do with special ed, to the least restrictive environment from grade 9, 10, 11, 12 for our students. So here's, and then Joliet West, the same. Again, Joliet West, just a combination, again, 85.9% of our students from this past year are at that entering, beginning, or developing. Questions on any of the data? I bet we all want to go and retake our ACTs right now. They're not. So things for proficiency that we're working on this year, again, as noted, the increase in our MTSS structures, the AVID implementation. We are offering pre-AP biology this year, so our freshman students have pre-AP biology, English, and social science. We've added a multilingual instructional coach for West Campus. Also this year, we have a new course. It's a newcomer class in CTE blocked. We just released a press release on it. About our group of students went to IKEA for a field trip, but it was a working field trip because they had a project to do. So we're really combining language development to career exploration, and we're finding great success with it with our team of teachers, and we're just trying to come up with different ways to engage our students like for the next year. So they're coming up with some interesting plans for a 10th. Like we want to continue it on with our students. And what we've shared with the board as well is that our expansion of that consult model for grade 10 students. So we're, like Dr. Guzman said, we're concerned about the new summative designation formula that they may be coming up with, but we are also still very proud of the services that we provide our students and how they grow. So knowing on that, I'll turn this over to the principals about absenteeism.
Thank you, Diane. So as far as chronic absenteeism goes, this is a topic that you've heard Ms. Parker and I speak to several times over the last few months. You also heard Dr. Guzman mention that with the shift in the proposed shift with the school report card and the calculations, that there will be a change in terms of I don't know if I want to say the importance of chronic absenteeism, but how it factors in. I think just what I would want to say is that regardless of any changes made in that regard, we still recognize the extreme importance of attendance and continuing our efforts and expanding our efforts to get students to come to school on a consistent basis. Something I meant to highlight when I went over the slide of the non-graduates, and don't quote me because the number's probably not right, but if you look back, I think of the non-graduates, it was something in the 85% or so of those students who were non-graduates were also designated as chronically absent. Now, there are other factors involved there, but we all know, and there's a reason chronic absenteeism was and remains part of the school report card equation, because research shows that it's important. So our efforts will not diminish here in this regard. We know how important it is because, as Dr. Guzman has said, and she's right, we have amazing teachers and programs and opportunities, but we need our students to be here to take advantage of those. So.
And here are the numbers for per subgroup chronic absenteeism for West. Our number for chronic absenteeism of these non-grads was in the high 80%. As well. So it will continue to be a focus, and we will continue to update you on our progress during our annual presentation each year. So some things that have been implemented, and I know you've heard some of this already. We've talked about all of these items in previous presentations throughout the summer and the start of this school year. But specifically for the West Campus, we continue to focus on chronic absenteeism, but not just students coming to school, but coming to school on time, as well as attending all of their classes. So new for our students this year, and the data is showing very promising numbers. We implemented the support table, student support table at both campuses, where we are greeting our freshmen and our upperclassmen at their specific arrival times. When they are late to school, we are contacting parents, problem solving, and getting to know students. We have quick interviews of them as they're at their table. We pull up all of their data. We talk about grades. We talk about their attendance, and workshop with them very briefly. And if there's need for follow-up beyond, we send them immediately to get support from our support staff, or we follow up with parent at a later time to share some information with them. New for West as well this year is the implementation of tardy sweeps. And we sweep every period. We started off with a plan just to focus on our lunch periods. But as we saw the success of it, we implemented at each level. And it is a huge lift, but I can tell you the hallways look very good. And our teachers are on a whole very happy with the immediate change that it has caused. But it also helps kids get in the building. We're seeing the efforts not just improve in the data related to attendance, but also in the mischief that can take place when you are walking aimlessly through the hallway and not focused on getting to where you need to be. I run a principal-student committee. We meet once a month, and it was so wonderful to hear them bring that up and say that, we really don't like it, but we completely understand why it's being done, so don't stop. So that was good to hear from our students, and I'll let Chad share the last 2 points.
If I could just interject, the Student Advisory Committee, when it came to tardy sweeps, and Christine was there, and, they don't like it, but they also said that it is very pleasant to utilize the bathrooms during class time as needed, because there's nobody in there anymore because of the tardy sweep. So they did recognize that, and so that is also a positive that the kids shared, and we had a great conversation about it too.
Yeah, and we have talked about this before, but just some updates. First, I know how well the tardy sweeps are going at the West campus, and as you recall, we're waiting on that. And with construction, it's extremely difficult because we have certain paths that we're asking our students to take that it's virtually impossible to make it, even though we've made some adjustments to the passing periods and everything. But if I'm being honest, I look forward to the construction being done, not just because of how wonderful it's going to be, but because, not surprisingly, with the success West has, I'm confident that we're going to move in a similar direction because we want to be able to have that same impact. Our Check and Connect system has sort of evolved. And it's kind of connected with the student support table. We identified some students based on some data from last year, and our administrators are checking in with many of those students, but we also found that many of those students, even though they kind of just passed that 10% threshold last year, like there were some very unique circumstances, and they're really not this year at risk of being chronically absent again. And so what I and others have begun to do is reference those student support table conversations. I think there are at least 10 or 20 students who are getting to school on time so that they don't have to talk to me in the morning, because like I really enjoy, and I mean that in a good way, like because we're looking at their grades, we're looking at their attendance, we're asking, we're talking to their families, and we're kind of building these Check and Connect students off of that and seeing, okay, it looks like you have a plan to catch up in this class and that class. You said you talked to your teacher. So I'm going to check back in a couple of days and see how you're doing in that class. So like, it's kind of in the moment, more identifying students who have needs because we're meeting them at the table there and then building those relationships there. So it's really been valuable.
Can I ask, so we kind of expected at the beginning of the year when this started that there'd be lineups. Are they starting to dwindle at all? Are they getting a little bigger right now? Like, what's that look like?
I mean, I can speak for the central campus. We obviously we're collecting data and we'll share that at some point. For the most part, we're seeing a decrease, but then we have some days where and I don't know what causes it. Like I was there on Monday and we were all looking at each other like, what happened? Why are we back up to this many? And then then Tuesday, so we'll have 100 one day and then 42 the next. And we're also looking at students who are chronically coming to that table and then involving the dean and triangle team and so on. So I think without having the data in front of me, we are seeing a decrease from when we began, but there's kind of an ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same for West. Traffic, there was a deer accident recently.
Monday being Monday.
Yeah. No, it raining, yeah.
Yeah.
Monday.
But we also talked about, and Shad and I talked about this today, because I was at the student support table today at Central, and sometimes you're having the conversation, and one of my questions I always ask students is, how are you getting up? Because usually kids are like, I overslept, I missed the bus. I'm like, okay, so what time are you going to sleep? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you waking up? And one of the students this was at West, was McKinney Vento, because I have it on my screen, and I said, do you have a phone? And they didn't have a phone, and so said, okay, well, if we get you an alarm clock, do you have a place to plug it in? And they said yes, and then I emailed Gigi, and so we get that student, an alarm clock. So some of the things that you talk about when you're talking with parents, you don't know, and then there's also what's going on in this class, and then afterwards, I'll email the teacher and say, hey, the student is saying that this is the case, or what have you, what's going on, and teachers will call and we'll have a nice conversation, and then we'll get to the root cause of maybe what's going on with a particular problem. And then it's also building relationships. The majority of conversations that I've had when I call home, they're very appreciative and, you know, very thankful. And most of them know, like, and so we talk through that too. So I think there's the benefit in the conversation when you're talking about family engagement too. It's just an extra level, so, and you probably were gonna say that.
No, that's okay. And then you're probably aware that recently there was a constitutional amendment that at least 2 bridges in Joliet have to be out at all times. And so that contributes a little bit to.
Okay, as a kid, that had to walk across those. I completely agree with
Yeah,
that
we're
issue.
going to see what we can do about that. And lastly, I don't know, all joking aside, the ALOT program, we're seeing great success with that. That is fantastic. I just had a conversation with our mentor, I think is the term we use, and she's making great connections with those students. And so that's just, again, just one more resource and one more trusted adult to be checking in with students and knowing that they care about them and want to see them succeed and working with the family. So, you know, that is a great addition, and I'm looking forward to seeing some data on the impact that's having as well. I think I skipped Central. You can go first. I get, you know. So 9th grade on track. Again, as Dr. Guzman mentioned, there is a shift as well with this. But again, the research shows how important this is. We are, especially at the Central campus, because we did not see an increase here despite efforts with MTSS and a variety of other areas. So we've been since summer and continue to take a deep dive into some data to try to get to the bottom of why that's happening. And we've had a couple meetings this week, as a matter of fact, to look at some specific course areas and some interventions and things that we can provide. So again, we know the importance of this, and the research backs it, and it will remain an area of focus for us, regardless of if any changes in its weight when it comes to the school report card, because we know how important that is. Because once those kids realize they can do it and know that they can succeed, they're more likely to continue down that path.
For Wes, we did see an increase between last year and this year for our freshmen on track. And just to reiterate, it will continue to be a focus. Studies have proven that it is an area that we should focus on as a high school, making sure that students are passing their classes, setting forth those great habits, study habits, organization, teaching them those executive functioning skills so that they are successful at the freshman year. They find that success to go on and do greater things. So new for this year, during our SIP time, our teachers are focusing on the JTHS instructional playbook. They're diving deep into our Wicker strategies and some of the best practices to find success across disciplines, across content areas. We have started with our accelerated students, our accelerated classes. So we've developed an academic acceleration advisory. Students are in classes with their teachers that they have been accelerated to, just to get that extra support during their advisory team. And Diane McDonald shared already that we have added to our MTSS structure at the 9th grade level by adding a multilingual support teacher as well to give input, share, and look at data.
And just to bring conclusion, and you saw this information before, so I'm not gonna talk about each one, but these are the action plans that are currently in progress, that really align to the indicators within the school report card. Because when you're talking about improving graduation rate, proficiency, all the different things, it's not this will improve this, right? It's multiple things lead to student success. And so in upcoming presentations at board meetings, you'll hear for our progress with our culminating presentation in May with our progress for the entire year and recommendations going into next year. And we're happy to answer any questions.
I just want to say thank you. Oh, you go ahead, Mr. Fitzpatrick.
You had mentioned a couple times that part of the problem for the graduation rate was enrollment of multiple schools, the kids. it says here on what I saw a long time ago, Central only had 5 kids and West only had 7 that were multiple school, going to multiple schools.
Are you referring to the non-grants?
Yeah. And obviously, as you said, the biggest problem is absentee, and you did say you were gonna get back to it. I guess I'd like to know what the timetable is on that, because that is obviously where the root of the problem is.
So part of, so there's different categories, so absolutely, the 3 or more high school enrollments, but also within there, and let's just look at under 12 credits, and we'll just look at Central. So it can be 3 or more high school enrollments. 3 or more is a lot, but even one change in high school is a major transition. So fewer than 2 years at Joliet Central, and then when you look at West, you have 38 kids at Joliet Central and 42 kids at Joliet West that have fewer than 2 years at that high school. So our time with them is smaller than the 4 years. And so again, we're definitely not making excuses. These are just the way we break up students into, I'm gonna say, buckets of knowing why kids might not be graduating. Some kids are able to transfer from one school to the next and do exceptionally well. But it is a hard transition. So if you are a student that struggles already and you're deficient in credits, that can be a bigger problem. So again, there's just different groups that we tried to see because those could have an effect on graduation rate. Does that help with your question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then your second part of that question was chronic absenteeism?
Yeah, which absolutely has everything, or most everything, to do with the graduation rate. So, yeah, you had pointed that you'd talk about it at another time, I guess. When
So,
would that be?
well,
We
so.
have an update on data for this school year that we're currently in. We're share that in the summer.
So we shared that last summer, and we'll share it next summer to see if the things that we've done this year with the student support table, with the tardy sweeps, with the student engagement phone calls, if those are helping to improve that. One thing, though, I think we have to understand is we need parents and communities' help with that. This is a problem that was already a problem previous to COVID, but COVID made this worse. And I just read an article, this is a national problem. There has been an improvement overall with slight reductions in chronic absenteeism, except in schools that are higher needs with more low socioeconomic students. And so that's us. And so we have to continue to work through that. You know, when we're talking to the kids at the support table and we're talking to parents, no one argues that coming to school is important, but coming to school every day is not something we're seeing from every single student, and we do need parent support. That's probably one of the indicators we have the least control of. And I think that's probably why, even though that is extremely important, it's no longer a core indicator. It can only help you, it can't hurt you, because just by virtue of students not coming to school, it already hurts you because it's a problem. So it's something we're gonna continue to work on, absolutely, because we wanna see it improve. And like we said, those are the things we're doing to try and work on that. The ALAP program, the MTSS structure, making sure we have engaging classes and coursework, student support table, and we're gonna keep working on it until we find something that improves it.
The only other thing I'll ask is, on the English proficiency, it seems like it hasn't improved at all in the last couple of years, so what are we doing for that?
I guess I'll be glad to talk to that. So this is our first year using the ACT. Last year we used the SAT. So it's 2 different tests.
No.
There's one. We took it for the first time this past spring.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep. We're already planning for year 2, that's why. We're always.
It always
we're
seems
already
like you're in
planning.
year
So
2.
it's 2 tests. rhetoric of the passages or sentences, and the other part is reading comprehension. So reading a passage and trying to figure out what the author is asking you, or making assumptions of what the message is. So like we shared, when we have students, say 843 students at Joliet Central who are entering, beginning, or developing with their reading, speaking, reading, writing, speaking, and listening, they're going to struggle with the ELA part of the test.
And the
So-
math part of the test and the
'cause they have
science
to
part of
read
the test.
Right.
So we understand that the state is, this, like, Mr. Fitzpatrick, the state is using this to measure the district, but we have shared other data, like our STAR data, our STAR growth data, and other indicators to show that our students are making progress and, while they're here with us for 4 years.
And this,
Are
oh.
you gonna go back to like ACRA data to look
Yeah.
at individual student growth?
Yep.
So we'll start seeing that.
We actually
Okay.
talked about it today. We still, now that we know that there's gonna be this growth component, we are gonna look at this. And we're looking to stay with ECRA because it's not just the overall, it's what you said, the student groups. But this part, and I'm sorry, because it's so small and my eyes like Takara, even with these binoculars on, are not working right now. But since the inception of the school report card in 2018-19, Joliet Central was at 9.7% EL. Joliet West was at 3%. We are now at 32.3% and respectively 17.8%. And as Ms. McDonald just shared, our EL population in totality showed 4% on proficiency. Because when you can't read the test, you cannot be successful on that test. Many of us did take the ACT. Though the ACT has changed, the level of ability to read that test is still very similar to what it was when we all took it. So if you had to take a test in Spanish or French or some other language other than the language you know, think about how you would feel when you're taking that test and how you most likely would do. So that cannot be ignored when we're talking about our proficiency. And so what I don't want us to do is villainize our teachers, our schools, our programs, or our students, because this is an unfair test for a lot of our kids. And I think that's really important. We have to keep talking about that. I'm sorry. I didn't know how else to do this. This is nice. You can just carry it around. Any other questions?
So the Spanish kid, we'll just say that, is reading the tests in English even if he can't read English?
Correct.
He's not given the opportunity?
There's no test version. So we have kids in the EL program that speak 27 different languages. The majority of our kids are Spanish speakers, but we also have French. We have many different languages. The only option for this test is English. So as long as our percentage stays where it is at or increases, that's going to affect our proficiency, and it's also going to affect growth, because you're not going to see the same level of growth with students. Maybe they can read English a little bit more, but that test is still a difficult test, and it really does require you to be able to read the language and to interpret and to understand.
Well, and worse yet, it's negatively impacting our kids, because
Most
we're
important.
not getting a clear picture of how they're actually doing, and that's probably the most frustrating thing.
Forcing them to sit for a 4-hour test.
No, it's like, I feel like it's one of the worst things we are forced to do as a public school district, is force kids to take a test that they can't read and do well on. Like, that's wrong. But we also have to reach 95% 6% participation rate.
Can we also throw in the fact that we have to test kids with IQs of 55?
Thank you, thank you, because that's also part of the issue.
Yeah.
That's why, and this doesn't solve it, but the DLM, it's supposed to be 1%. Okay, that's arbitrary. That's an arbitrary number. We've already made the decision in the district that we are gonna recommend based on what's best for students, and if we're in the DLM naughty group every year, we'll be in the DLM naughty group every year. But as Dr. Huntington said, there's still kids that are taking the test that can't take the DLM because they don't meet the requirements. So all of that is problematic. So that's why I'm really concerned with 2 of the 3 indicators, the core indicators, being the ACT.
I think, though, that, the fact of the matter is that the graduation rate, right, because you're able to make those accommodations, you're able to make the adjustments, they're meeting mastery in the content. Like, it's good that it's 50% of the rating, so.
And we're seeing a lot of success with that. Our kids are, we've really seen increases in our graduation rate this past year.
It's a good point.
That's why we're really not sure if this change, there's some positives with the changes coming, but there's also some negatives we need to be aware of. And that's why, to Dr. Huntington's point, looking at proficiency by subgroup is important, because we need to be able to take out the EL students and see where we're doing with our other students. That's very fair. Take out students that probably shouldn't be taking the test, but we're forced to have them give the test. So there's things we can learn and we can discover. When it does come to the school report card, though, it would be nice to have things not significantly change every year. So the test, the benchmarks, the model, the indicators, just, that would be great. So, thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's questions and time.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
The last item under school superintendent's reports is the fall housing report. Diane, do you have some comments for the fall housing report?
I just want to point out, with the information that Dr. Hampton has shared with the board about trends with student enrollment, the data shows that from last year to this year, we did see a net decrease of 430 students.
So I have a question. Do you guys do like a projection, like a 5-year, 10-year projection? When do you share that? Have I seen that before?
Yeah, we only
Okay.
share it during our staffing.
Okay, so that'll be coming. We'll be able to see that. Okay.
But I updated twice. So I updated after the 10-day count in the fall, and then after the 10-day count again in the spring, right? So, but it is information we track each year throughout the year. So as the fall housing numbers come, then I'll update that information again. Then after the 10-day account in January, I'll update it again, and then we present that information.
Do you use like data from the feeder schools and things like that? to
So
kind of- okay.
it's analytics of all of our sender schools associated with the live births in the area. And it's really rolling data because we all now have to report to the state. And so we can see the trends that's coming from all of our sender schools, along with actual numbers in our district. And then there's projections out from that point.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry, that concludes our superintendent report.
No worries. All right, we're gonna move on to action items at this point. We'll start with action item A, which is a public hearing for the attendance on Abraham Lincoln's birthday per the school code. So I'm gonna make a motion to open that public hearing. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
All right, the hearing is now open. Do we have any public comments on attending school on Abraham Lincoln's birthday? Not all at once.
I mean, obviously, we still have President's Day off
Yes.
as a holiday.
Yeah, we observe it there, but.
Yeah.
The calendar that is for approval tonight recognizes that as the holiday for, in lieu of Abraham Lincoln.
Yes.
Okay.
But we apparently have to have a hearing per school code, I guess. So that's why we're having our hearing.
Okay.
All right, hearing no discussion, I make a motion to close the hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero Namir?
Yes.
Motion passes. We will attend school on Abe Lincoln's birthday. Action item B, approval of 26-27 SIP Program Committee recommendation. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I just want to thank Ms. McDonald, Ms. Petronio, who co-chair that team each year for looking at data, collecting input, and then making recommendations to the calendar. Those are actually also reflected into the calendar that we're asking the board to review and adopt this evening. I really thank them for scheduling the times because it allows us to meet the November board deadline and get that out to our sender schools, because it's best for our families to hopefully be in a similar calendar situation.
And best for our attendance too, because when our feeder schools generally aren't in, and we are, that our attendance suffers for that, so that's good.
So thank them for their leadership.
No, absolutely. I actually served on that committee before. You guys do awesome work. Appreciate it. All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Guerrero Namir?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
All right, motion passes on to action item C, approval of 26-27 school year calendar. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
I didn't notice any major changes from traditional scheduling. There was nothing in there that,
Nope, no, it's really a similar calendar as what we had last year, just changes in dates and looking at where the holidays fall.
and there's parent-teacher conferences first and second semester?
Yes.
And that's what the teachers want?
The input we have is that it's been working well. We still do virtual. That has been well received. If a parent would like to schedule a in-person meeting, they can do that as well. We'll do that differently. But the virtual meetings, we're able to have interpretation as needed, either with utilizing our own staff or the agency. So it's been a good opportunity to engage parents. Also, we put it out early for sign up for students who are struggling. And so we target families earlier to sign up and selective enrollment, and then open it up to everybody else.
Also to point, for teachers that may not have a full schedule, either that evening or that Friday when, from 9 to 3, we encourage them then to reach out to families and use that time to make phone calls if they don't have a scheduled conference.
And are they able to work from home on those days since they're virtual, or are they in the
They do the
building?
virtual from home on the
Thursday night.
evening
The
of
evening hours.
Thursday night, but everybody reports on Friday.
Sorry, that's a lot of questions. That's all I have.
No, that's fine.
All right. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Miss Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero Namir?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
All right, motion passes on to action item D, the ISB Discipline Improvement Plan. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
This is a requirement each year by the state of Illinois. If you are in the top 20% of exclusionary discipline in any of the 3 categories, then you have to submit, bless you, a district improvement plan that the board approves. Then those minutes have to be submitted to ISB by February 1st. It has to be posted on the website. So the presentation that's attached to the form from ISB is the presentation that you saw this summer with our student support plan. So it includes our discipline data as well as our interventions. We have been cited for exclusionary discipline for suspensions almost every year since the inception. The good news is our numbers have come down from there, but they've remained relatively stagnant for the last 3 years, but they're lower than they were upon when the report first came out. We have had some years where we have been cited for racial disproportionality and other years where we have not. This past year, we were on the top 20% for racial disproportionality as well. When I looked at the numbers, the number of overall was exactly the same, but our white students had less and our students of color had more, about 20 in each direction. And so that was related to the infractions and the consequences. I have gotten questions. We look at our discipline data on a monthly basis. I look to see if there are any outliers with referrals from certain teachers, and we address those, or with data from deans, and those are things we'll continue to do, and see what other interventions we can do. We're continuing on with implicit bias. Also, this is our 8th cohort for our cultural responsiveness cohort. That is something that we'll also want to continue in the district. But this is something that you've seen in the past, and I'm happy to answer any other questions. And we're currently working on potential new supports and interventions for next year.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes, motion passes. On to action item E, approval of the 24-25 annual financial report. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? It was a good presentation. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. On to action item F, approval of the 25 tentative tax levy. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Dr. Hampton took us through it in his presentation. All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
No.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
I appreciate the summary, the one pager. Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. On to action item G, a resolution authorizing a supplemental tax levy to pay the principal and interest of an outstanding limited bonds of the district. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. On to action item H, Joliet Central Phase 2B bid. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, any discussion?
Yes, we have a recommendation for, to accept bids for Phase 2B, which projects are the Smith Building first floor renovation, the TNI first floor renovations, and the TNI Link Addition. And we have David Norris here to give us a quick summary of the bid process, and the results.
Thank you. So this project, we call it Phase 2B of the Central Master Plan. Right now, we're under construction for the link connecting the 1921 to Smith Building. This project renovates the first floor Smith, creates another link connecting both floors of Smith to TNI, and then renovates the T&I first floor. It's a complete renovation, creating a central corridor which none exists right now. So it'll greatly improve how students can circulate through each of the classrooms. So in our bid opening, we had 18 bid packages. I think we had a total of close to 81 bidders total throughout the packages. Had a very good turnout, and we came in under budget, significantly under budget, which is great. We have a lot of interest. I know we're out to bid. This Thursday, we open bids for West. So with this recommendation, there are 2 alternate bids that we're also recommending. The first alternate, which is actually alternate 2, is replacing the existing Smith Building rooftop units. I think they're the original from 2005, so they're
About time.
Yep, it's time to replace those. So alternate 3, the second alternate that we're recommending is we're refeeding across the street Transition Center fiber feed, and we're not quite sure if we have the capacity and what's the conduit that goes under the road. So we may have to, right now we're planning on directional boring another conduit. And we're not sure if we could, since it's an IDOT road, we're not sure if we can get the IDOT permit in time to directional bore. So the alternate is actually to do a fusion splice temporarily to refeed the transition center. And then once we get the permit, we can directional bore and pull a straight fiber through. So we're recommending both of those alternates in addition to the base bid award.
Okay.
And fibers for internet capability and
Yes.
systems like that? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Any questions? All right, roll call, please.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stipp?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero Namir?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. On to action item I, Joliet Township High School 204 HVAC controls bid. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
I'm assuming that's what he just talked about as well. That was the
No, this
alternate.
is
It's a
different.
one. Okay,
Yep, this is
discussion?
different. This is also part of our master facilities plan, but this is dealing more with our controls for our heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and cooling. So back in December of '22, the board did approve for us to upgrade our systems. So essentially, we have 3 different systems that don't talk to each other. So the first phase was to put in the backbone so that all the systems could talk. So now the next phase is to upgrade all of our controls. Many of our controls are over 25 years old.
Right, that's what we just-
So we definitely need to upgrade those. They're low performing or they're failing systems. A lot of times we can't find the parts. And so with that, it allows us to be more efficient. Reliability, actually every classroom will be able to control temperatures versus kind of like one temperature for all, where some people are hot, some people are cold. So it does assist with the environment for our staff and our students. So that's what this recommendation is with Precision Controls. They are through the purchasing co-op, so it has been bid already. And this is a 3-year program because obviously they have to get into classroom and spaces. And where they don't have to, they will go ahead and start that process. But this is the recommendation to move forward with the next phase of the controls for the district.
Okay. Any further discussion, any questions? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Guerrero Namir?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
All right, on to action item J, disposal of equipment. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero Namir?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. On to action item K, donations. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
We would just like to thank Darcy Motors and my friend Rosie Cardenas for making a donation to the Central Campus for Trunk or Treat. And also, our favorite ever Board Secretary Tanya Rico, and the JTHS Athletic Boosters for a very generous donation to the MLK Day of Service for 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yep.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes. All right, motion passes. On to action item L, personnel reports. I'm gonna make a motion to approve 1 through 10, striking line item B and number 9, classified employment recommendations. Have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Coffey for student discipline recommendations.
Yes, after receiving and deliberating the information contained in the hearing officer's report, the Board of Education is charged with deciding, 1, whether removing the child from his or her learning environment is in the best interest of the school. 2, what the rationale is for the specific duration of the recommended expulsion. 3, whether all appropriate and available behavioral and disciplinary interventions were exhausted. And 4, whether the continued presence in school would either A, pose a threat to the safety of other students, staff, or members of the school community, or B, substantially disrupt, impede, or interfere with the operation of the school. The Board of Education must then convene into public session to formally vote on the motion to expel if the expulsion is the consensus arrived at during the executive session. I make a motion under case number C 252603, recommending expulsion until January of 2027 and placement at Lincoln School.
I second that motion. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes. I make a motion under case number W252604, recommending expulsion until June of 2027 and placement at Lincoln School.
I second that motion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
I make a motion under case number W252605, recommending expulsion until January of 2027 and placement at Lincoln School.
I second that motion. Roll call, please.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
I make a motion under case number C 252606, recommending expulsion until June of 2027 and placement at Lincoln School.
Second that motion. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
I make a motion under case number C 252607, recommending expulsion until June of 2027 and placement at Lincoln School.
Second that motion. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
I make a motion under case number W252608S, recommending expulsion until June of 2027 and placement in accordance with the student's IEP.
Second that motion. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Numer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes. I make a motion under case number C 252609, recommending expulsion until June of 2027 and placement at Lincoln School.
I second that motion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Coffey?
Yes.
Mrs. Stiff?
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mrs. Lynn?
Yes.
Mrs. Guerrero-Mer?
Yes.
Dr. Huntington?
Yes.
All right, that concludes our action items. We'll move on to unfinished business. Does anybody have unfinished business?
I have some unfinished business. I'd like to address the board and the administrative team concerning my statement from last month. I feel it necessary to address a recent letter sent to the JTHS administrators following my statement in open session at the October board meeting regarding the climate and culture survey results. I want to clarify my position, as I believe my central purpose was misunderstood. My intent was never to question the dedication or professionalism of our administrators. On the contrary, I deeply respect the commitment and hard work of our administrative team demonstrates every day. The challenges that are faced are immense, and your efforts are invaluable to our district. Any suggestion otherwise is a misinterpretation of my words. My intention was to draw attention to some important findings from the surveys, particularly that only 28% of respondents agreed that district leaders are in tune with school-level issues or concerns, or 29% felt that the school administration are in tune with teacher concerns. These numbers do not reflect a lack of effort. They highlight a systematic challenge in trust and communication. Hard work and trust are not mutually exclusive. Even the most dedicated individuals can be undermined by broken systems. When communications falter, perceptions of effectiveness suffer, as evidenced by these survey results. This is just not an operational issue. It's a governance issue. When 70% of our stakeholders feel unheard or disconnected from leadership, it demands a visible collective response from the board. We must demonstrate to our staff that we take their feedback seriously and are committed to meaningful change. I urge my colleagues to join me in publicly acknowledging the reality reflected in our data, committing to review and improve our structures for communication and feedback, and reaffirm our dedication to transparency and action. Let's move beyond defensiveness and focus on solutions. By addressing these concerns openly and collaboratively, we can rebuild trust and confidence in our leadership, which includes every member of this Board of Education as well, which will support not only our staff and educators, but the entire district community. Together, we have an opportunity and a responsibility to enact meaningful, systematic change. I call on each of you to help lead this effort, ensuring our leadership is not only hardworking, but also trusted, responsive, and united. I thank you for your time and attention.
All right, thank you. Does anybody else have any unfinished business?
Can I just
Do you have
address,
unfinished business?
I just want to address something that was brought up tonight. Sure. Really quick. I just want to thank you again, everyone, for the presentation on the school report card and the transparency there. I think it's important that we note when you have a school and Joliet Central with such a high percentage of ELL students, that when you look at a chronic absenteeism rate of 63.6%, something that was not acknowledged, and I think it's important. I think we do it on a daily basis, but that children are scared right now. Again, I just wanted to reiterate that. They're very scared. Their parents are scared. They're being separated. And that's important to note, that all the hard work that our teachers, our staff, and our administration are doing cannot always combat what's going on in the real world. We had student ambassadors that were brave tonight and shared, one of them, a couple of them actually, mentioned things regarding mental health. They were not ELL students that I could tell, but what's going on in the world is certainly impacting them. And just a reminder too, that absenteeism, their attendance in general, it doesn't just impact ELL students. Our funding is tied to that. So when students are scared to come, that impacts all students, not just Latino students. It impacts Black students, white students, Asian students, across the board. So I think it's important to recognize that. And again, that goes along with our graduation rates. That goes along with, I mean, we talk about this in and out. We've talked about it for years. It's not fair that they're taking tests in a language that they do not understand. I know people that are monolingual that can't even read English correctly, and they were born and raised in this country. So we need to pay attention to things that are happening, not just here in our school district, but across our state and our entire country. And to not know these things really bothers me when we have children that are so scared. And children should have the ability to thrive in our community. Instead, their growth is being stunted because they can't go to school because they're afraid that when they go home, their parents are not going to be there, or they're going to be abducted on their way to school. And I just think we need to address that. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any new business to attend to? Anybody with new business? Do we have any board reports?
Oh, I have one.
Yeah,
Good evening, everyone.
your mic's off.
I talk loud enough, though. Good evening, everyone. I just want to say that I had the pleasure of participating in the contract negotiations with the teachers. My first experience, and I want to say that it was very collaborative and successful, and I appreciated the opportunity to serve in that role. We had 2 out of 3 meetings. We have 1 more meeting, and I expect that to go just as well. And so I look forward to it, and I just thank everyone that sat at that table, and it was a great experience. So thank you.
I have 2. I had the opportunity to go see the fall play at Joliet West. Mr. Galley, the director, the Tomatoes, kids were amazing. The amount of dialogue, I was very impressed that they were able to do all that dialogue. It was really good. And then I also had an opportunity to see Joliet West play volleyball. Yes, they were playing another school that I know, but I sat with West. I wore black and gold. And I snuck out of there before the ending, so I didn't get caught up. So and it was, Mr. Millsaps did a really nice job, and it was a very active, lots of kids there cheering their hearts out. Unfortunately, it wasn't the outcome for Joliet West that they hoped for, but they had a great season.
Nice. Anybody else?
Speaking of volleyball, just congratulations to Lena Eden and my favorite Faith Jordan for signing with pretty prestigious schools, volleyball players. Joanna Gonzalez Vargas, one of my friends who got the Alumni Spotlight, and she works with our students in our community regarding domestic violence, teen dating, et cetera. And a shout out to Dr. Guzman, Ms. Stiff, Ms. Schlisman, and our board president, Mr. Kennedy, who will all be presenting this weekend at the ISB Joint Annual Conference.
That's true. I don't have a board report, but I did want to give a shout out to our staff, mainly because we had this really long government shutdown, and that impacted a lot of our students with their benefits. And I know, because I went shopping with my wife, that our staff pitched in for our kids out of their own pockets, that they created meals for our kids, for a food pantry for them to pick up. And for those people who did that, I can't thank you enough. I was appreciative to be a small part in that and helping and going to Jewel and picking stuff up, but for you guys to just step up when our kids need it, that's what our district is all about, and I appreciate that. So. All right, do we have any announcements or public comment?
I have a couple announcements.
All right.
I just want to say that we had a great Veterans Day celebration at Joliet Central. It's always a wonderful event. One of our veterans was 104 years old. So that's amazing. He got a standing ovation, but it was wonderful. Also, I got to go to Joliet West to see Freddie the fire truck in action, which the Joliet Fire Department had these, they're like mini fire truck. Well, it's a mini fire truck, and its name is Freddie, and it needed some repairs. So John Barber's class at Joliet West worked on those repairs. I haven't seen it, but I heard that Andy the ambulance is being worked on at Central. But the goal, and for sure, Freddie is gonna participate in the parade that's coming up in Joliet, and the students are going to be the one that are driving, and they figured out how to have it, I'm gonna say pop a wheelie. I mean, I don't know, like, if that's actually what it's called, but it shoots water, it sings, it's just fun. It's just fun. And they kept it for a little bit longer because they did a special, right next door to John Barber's class is the preschool program. So we were playing with it in the hallway, and all the kids are in the little coves, like, looking at it. And so the fire department brought hats for all the students, and so they got a big kick out of Freddie the fire truck.
Awesome.
And then was able to go to the Joliet Central EL Awards Night. Thank you, Ms. Greer, our new mayor, for going to. So that was a great opportunity to recognize our students. And then upcoming events, we have our special services staff is inviting everyone to pack the house at 5 p.m. on December 10th at Joliet Central. That's a district-wide event, and there's no charge to attend the event, but donations are accepted at the door. All proceeds benefit Special Olympics. The event is at 5 p.m. There's raffles, so that is a great way for everybody watching, everybody here to have a fun night supporting a great cause. And then also, our transition center has been hard at work making different, I'm gonna call them crafts and woodworking, but they have their holiday Walmart available, so I'll distribute these to the Board of Education because there's QR codes and you can order them. The things they're making are amazing, so I bought a couple. So I'll share that, so thank you.
I have one more announcement. Our CEO program is hosting Christmas. Our CEO program is hosting Christmas at the Castle at Joliet Central on December 12th. And that's a group of students that are learning some entrepreneurial skills, and they're going to host this event with the community, and I'm looking forward to attending. So I hope you guys come too.
I'm putting these in my calendar.
I don't know what time it is. Do you know what time?
I will include that in the board.
Wrap up.
Do we know
Yeah.
what time that event will take place? Okay.
I can look for that, and I'll include that in information. And we'll for sure put that out to the community in a weekly email.
Awesome. Like it.
Yep.
Anybody else with an announcement? Ms. Rico, any public comments? All right, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We'll do it by unanimous consent. Hearing no objection, meeting is adjourned.